Hello everyone and welcome to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. I'm Huma, siddiqui, and as you know, I just love to create simple, easy but delicious recipes. So today we have a very interesting menu. I say interesting because it's very delicious as always, but it's also very simple. I think you will really enjoy trying these recipes, and if you are starting to try couscous, this would be a really good one to start with, because couscous can be so bland. As you can see, it is a grain, but it's really you have to add things to it. If you just make couscous on its own, not going to work. So you have to add some spices, you have to add some fresh vegetables. So I plan to do actually red pepper and some green onions and some cilantro. So think about the color combination as well as the flavor combination. So all of these. And I think I'm going to add our siddiqui masala, which is a chipotle barbecue flavor. So when you start to think about all these flavors, you can I hope that you can almost start to taste them in your mouth. Think about the chipotle barbecue flavor, a little bit salty, a little bit sweet, and then pepper on top of it, and then green onions and cilantro. Sounds to me like a good combination. So we'll start there, and then I'm going to make some chicken with garbanzo beans. So it's going to be pretty hearty. When you think about couscous and chicken with garbanzo beans, it starts to feel a little warmer in your mouth. At least it does to me. And a bunch of garlic, of course. And then we are going to make a simple salad with some black olives. I have to think now what I plan to do in my salad. Some tomatoes, English cucumber, red onions, a bit of lime juice, and a bit of olive oil. And if you have watched my show before, you know that I'm not a big fan of big, thick salad dressings. That's the word I was looking for. So anyway, it has to be very light, it has to be delicious. So we'll get started. Just warm up your pan as always. Add some olive oil. And you want that oil to be warm as well before we start to add our whole spices, which in this case is going to be whole cumin. And as soon as it starts to get warm, we'll start to add the cumin. And these are cumin seeds. We'll just throw them in here. And it will, I don't know if you can hear the sizzle, but as soon as it starts to sizzle, all the flavors start to go into the oil. And that's what you're looking for, is the first layer of flavor. And all the cooking is about layering the flavors, basically. So every layer that you add should add a little bit of flavor to your recipe. So as it starts to get warm, I'm going to chop our red pepper. Look how beautiful that is. I love buying fresh stuff. It just makes my day. I don't know. Life is very simple for me. I can be happy with little things. So just kind of take that pepper and just slice it, and then we'll just dice it. Put it together. And your oil is getting really nice and warm, and that's definitely what you want. So this goes in. That sizzle, always like that. And then your kitchen starts to smell so good, and that's a big part of cooking, because it just starts to feel very inviting, very warm. And how can you not feel good about it? It's just the way it is. And let's chop some of these green onions. That is sort of our third layer. And I like to keep one of the rubber bands on so that it hopefully doesn't go everywhere when you're slicing it. Then just kind of get that rid of it, and then chop it further. Fresh flavors. There's just no match. Fresh flavors and fragrant spices. Your recipe will come alive no matter what. Let's get this all done. I'm going to add our couscous. Stir it a little bit. If I was making this for myself, I'll probably add some jalapeno peppers or some dried red chilies because I like it hot. So, but I don't know about our audience, so I don't want to, it's hard because you don't know what the tolerance level is for your audience. So I try to stay a little bit milder. But at home, if you decide to do this, add as much as you want. And just some of our siddiqui masala here. And a bit of salt. So now think about all the flavors that have gone in there. You start to almost taste it. And then we'll add some warm water. And couscous is very simple to make, as you can tell. And then you just, and very quick as well. So just add some water, cover it, switch off the heat, and it will just cook by itself. And as you know, I don't measure anything. So just kind of throw stuff in and it works. But our recipes are actually our pages, recipe pages live now, so you can check out our recipes there. I usually write it for everybody else. But if you're like me, just throw things in and it works. So as soon as it comes to a boil, we'll switch the heat off and cover it, and then we'll start to work on our chicken. We'll take a short break, so don't go away. Welcome to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. I just made the couscous, and there's something I wanted to just emphasize that, usually when I make rice, we cover it, we leave it alone on heat. But this time when you are making couscous, you want to remove it from the heat, cover it, and leave it alone for about 10 minutes or so. So we'll check on it in a few minutes after I make the chicken. So again, warm up your pan. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, right there. Sort of on medium heat. And as soon as it starts to get warmer, you want to add some olive oil and some whole spices. So this time I want to add our cinnamon stick, some cloves and cardamoms. And these are whole spices that go in the oil and they start to infuse the oil very well. Again, the little cardamoms, the green cardamoms, are actually have a bit of sweeter taste. So it adds to that. And then you have your cloves that add a little bit of spice to it. So that's how I would do it. So like 3 little green cardamoms and about 4 or 5 cloves. And 1 nice big cinnamon stick. So think about, the cloves are a little bit spicier, but then the green cardamoms are a little sweeter, and then cinnamon is a little sweeter. So it starts to add all those flavors to your recipe. That goes in here, and I'll show you one of the biggest sticks I found. It's quite chunky, isn't it? And I can't break it because I'll try. Oh, I could. Those workouts are working very well, I guess. I'm going to throw that in here. And as it starts to infuse the oil, let's chop some onions. So you just want to just cut it in half, slice it, and then just dice it. Any questions so far? No? Okay. We'll just keep going. Sure.
There's different types of couscous, correct?
Mm-hmm.
With the bigger couscous,
Right.
is the same true that you would keep it off the heat, or would that one would leave on?
No, I think the method will be the same for cooking. It might take a little bit more liquid because it's a bit more, grainy, but I think that's all. Yeah, I love to, when people or myself can experiment with different things and just see how it turns out. That's the fun part of cooking. And sometimes, most of the time, it turns out just fine. And if not, then, start again. No big deal. So throw some onions in. It starts to smell so good. And chicken, I usually cut it in small pieces, small chunks, so that it cooks just really quickly. And that's the objective. When you come home after work, you know, most people don't have that much time to spend in the kitchen. We like to keep our recipes very simple, very easy, so you can really do it on the fly. And still have really good food at the end of the day. And who can complain about that? Just one more. Eyes are starting to water. I'm going to be quick. So here we go. And you just want to saute your onions a little bit. You don't want to turn it too brown because for me, I like texture. So our onions are sauteed, sort of golden, nice golden brown, and that's what you want. Just look at it. All the oil is kind of around it. It's looking pretty happy. At that time, I would just add the chicken. Just plain chicken breast, just cut in, you know, kind of cubes. And you want to saute this a little bit for like 30 seconds or so. And we'll add a bit of garlic. Yeah, a big bit. That's for sure. As always, you know, why change some things? They just work. So, good for your heart, it's good for your food. I don't see why I would want to change that. Add a bit of salt. And some of our garam masala, which is really a combination of 5 different spices. And I really like this because it has, you know, cinnamon, black peppercorns, cumin, coriander. So think about all those flavors of those spices. When they play together, it just creates this wonderful combination, very warm, but also not really quite sweet, but almost there. It's one of those things that it's hard to describe until you taste it. And that's the importance of spice blends. That you can't really differentiate all the different spices, but when they come together, they have to play together very well. And then you can start guessing, okay, maybe this is in there or that is in there. And that's the idea. So add a bunch of that. And some chili powder. Add some heat. So there. And we'll add some tomatoes. And I like to add, you know, the fire roasted tomatoes a little bit because, and you can use fresh tomatoes too if you like. It's up to you, but it just adds another layer of flavors. So once I've added that, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll finish this chicken dish and make our salad, and the whole meal will come together. So stay there. Welcome back to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. Making the chicken, and I want to show you the couscous first. I think it's done. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, it looks how colorful it looks. I love it when there's food is beautiful. And see how it just all the water is gone. I want to show you some of the fresh vegetables in here. Just looks pretty. And very flaky, and that's what you want. You want all the liquid to be absorbed, and also you can use, you know, stock if you like to add another layer of flavor. You know, feel free to do that. And just from the edges, you just want to kind of gently throw that in here. Stir a little bit. And it's ready. I'm pretty happy about that. So we'll just get this chicken taken care of, and then make the salad. At this point, I'll kind of increase the heat a little bit for it to start to, it smells so good in here. And once you start to see the sauce, you know, getting made in here with the garlic and all the spices and of course the tomatoes, and it's going to be a nice thick sauce. And then we'll add the garbanzo beans to it. Make it a little bit more heartier than it already is. I just want to make sure that all the spices get into the chicken. And then we will, and you can see the cinnamon sticks almost starts to open up a little bit. You can see that from on this side. And what happens is that that's what you want. Your spices have to be so fresh. Then when you see that, it's really a good sign for it. And all what it's doing is it's really infusing your sauce and your recipe. And that's the best part of cooking, really. Apart from eating, I think that's the best part. To see what the sort of the magic that happens in the pan. Just so important. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of water. It's a bit of warm water. Then we'll throw in our garbanzo beans. And as you can see, it's from the can, but you can actually, if you, what I like to do if I have time is take the dry beans, soak it overnight, and then boil it and just put it in those small Ziploc bags, put it in the freezer, and then you can continue to use them as you go along. So make a big batch at times because it takes a bit of time, and otherwise you can always use the can, and that's fine. It works. It's America, you know. You can buy everything in a can. So just let's get some cilantro. So just take a bunch, just roll it all together and chop it. Don't worry about taking out the leaves and all that. I think the stems have a lot of flavor, and why throw them away? Just doesn't make sense to me. And it all gets cooked in that, and the sauce is wonderful. A bunch of flavor. So here, we'll leave it on sort of medium heat to cook everything together. And we'll start making the salad. Sauce is looking very good. So, let's see. Yeah, I think this will be great. And then for the salad, I bought some English cucumber. Look at these tomatoes. They're looking really good. And these are Roma tomatoes, but what you want to check is just kind of they have to be firm for your salad. You don't want the mushy ones. You don't want it too ripe because then it starts to get really watery and very mushy. So don't want that. Some red onions, and that's what's going to be in our salad. So start chopping this. And English cucumber because of the seeds. So if you take a look at that, it doesn't have any seeds. It's a little bit easier to kind of have as a part of your salad, and when you're munching on it. Let's take all this out. And if I want to, sometimes what I like to do is add a little bit of iceberg lettuce, because I know a lot of people don't like to use iceberg lettuce, but it has that little crunch, and you just want to use maybe if 1/3 of your salad should be lettuce, because it just adds that crunch, it adds that freshness to it. So I'm a big fan of that. Try it at home if you like to, and see how it turns out. So just kind of slice it. I'll keep the skin on because, again, there's a lot of flavor, a lot of nutrients in there. Why take it out? I like to use as many things as I possibly can. Just adds really good flavor, really beautiful color to any dish that you're making. And see, a simple, easy meal for any weeknight. You can put it together. I have all the confidence that you can do it. chicken is working. Our couscous is already done. So we are doing pretty well with time. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the salad is going to be put together and the whole meal is going to come together. So don't go away. Welcome back to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. We are almost done with this meal. I'm just going to throw these cucumber in here and start chopping our tomatoes in a minute. And then the red onion, and then I have some black olives as well. So let's do this quickly, and then everybody can eat. And if you like our recipes, and if you would like to be a part of the show, so at least you can try it and you're not sitting on your couch just drooling, then you can always go to our website and get the tickets and be here. It's really fun to get some of these comments at time to time where people say, well, the food looks so good, I just want to put my hand in my TV to get it. And I said, well, you can actually come here and get it. So here we go, almost done. It's exciting to see all these fresh flavors, or sort of the things that you usually have in your home or see in the grocery store quite often. So none of the ingredients are, we didn't want it to be so difficult to get. It should all be available, and we should just, make a good recipe out of that. Most people will have these things in their refrigerator, I hope. Just get some of these tomatoes in. And you definitely have to have a sharp knife to be able to, do your cooking. And quite honestly, I think that if you have a very sharp knife, have a good chopping board, a few pots and pans, you can really cook a storm. Believe it or not. It's pretty simple. That goes in here. Then we have our onion. And red onion really adds a lot to this salad, and that's why I always like to use the red onion, because it has that flavor that kind of stands out without dominating everything else. And that's the idea. All the recipes should have, all the flavors have to play together. And of course the color is beautiful, can't resist. Let's throw that in here. And then our black olives. So all you want to do is put them together, just chop them roughly before they start to go everywhere. And there. So simple, colorful, but delicious. Hits all of our all of our food philosophies. So take some lime, just add some lime juice. And I prefer lime over lemon because it just has this little, zest to it that I really, really like. Lemon is a little plainer, I think. Let's add that. Our chicken is looking very delightful. A bit of salt. And a little bit of olive oil. kind of mix it together. There's a beautiful salad. Very fresh, it's going to be delicious, I can assure you. So let's put our plate together, see what the meal looks like. Our chicken is done. Yep. Let's switch this off. Take a bunch of your couscous here, some vegetables, a bunch of chicken with that beautiful sauce, and then some of our salad. Who can complain about this meal? You know? I hope you get a chance to try these recipes at home, and I will see you next week.